Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to Chaotic TV. We're bringing you more selected games from IronSquid Chapter 2. This is Group C, Match 5. And in the bottom right of Ohana, we have the Teal Protoss, formerly of Team Slayers, now on the trainee or other roster, according to Wikipedia, of SK Telecom T1 Kespa team. He is Brown.
Alright, and his opponent for this match will be the yellow Terran. The yellow Terran player. Everyone knows him and loves him. This is MarineKingPRIME.
Alright. Yeah, some of the longest intros we have for Brown. I think that was the longest one I've done yet.
That's okay. Sometimes intros are important.
I felt like Caldor waiting for the Street Fighter voice to bring in a fly-in or something like that.
And to be fair, nothing ever happens in the first 2 minutes of a StarCraft game. I mean, very rarely, I guess. Especially with no Zerg.
We were watching, or when I was casting MKP earlier today, speaking of Zerg, he was doing a very interesting style I had not seen before. Was reactored Marines with a single factory producing Hellions and then a medevac elevator play on Cloud Kingdom, and then MMA did the exact same thing. So is that a map? Would you happen to know if that's a map specific build?
It's just a variation of the 1-1-1 all-in. I mean, against Protoss you get more tech labs, but against Zerg you're better off with more units.
Yeah. I thought the elevator play was like the key note because it led them both to a victory that was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, against the Zerg player, that's what you get the medevac for, just to get your units exactly where you want them, and also the healing with reactive Marines. That's just incredibly strong.
All right, we have gas after barracks for MKP, so he's probably going to go into build a factory very soon. He's already moving at barracks out so he can put down an add-on.
This is reactor Hellions. It's going to go straight into an expansion. Oh wow, it's not reactor Hellions. He's got another barracks coming down.
Yeah, he's doing that reactor something or other. He's got got another gas coming down.
Some Marine play from the Marine King.
His naming style denotes he is good at bio play. He was a little slow on the splits when I saw him earlier today. We'll see how he does, if he needs to at all, against the Protoss. We'll see how he does it.
Protoss don't have banelings, so it's going to be a little less important. But we know MarineKing can do it. We've seen him all the way back in Season 2 of the GSL against Xenix Kyrix. This huge game on Shakira's Plateau, just banelings against Marines. It was this crazy matchup that you think Marines should never win. Here's MarineKingPRIME winning anyway.
Yeah, the coolest splits I've seen against the Protoss were, I think, Promaru Prime, MarineKing's. I don't know if he's a protege, but probably definitely a practice partner. Robo coming down for Brown as I say this, but the splits for Maru were against Storms, and they were pretty much he figured out where the Protoss was going to drop a storm and then moved just before he did, kind of taunting him to drop a storm in a big pile of units and then just split them right before the storm dropped anyway. So it was very, very wicked play. And then he went into Mass Ghosts, which is just the style I love from Terrans, but you never almost see it. Almost never see it.
Yeah, some of those Prime players, they're kind of the only people who ever really did a lot of exploration there. I mean, they even got as far as to use the Ghost play against Terrans, so Ghost against Cloak Banshees, and they would use the EMP to reveal the Cloak, which is, you know, something that everyone knows about, but almost no one can pull off because it's a really difficult thing to do. A Cloak flying unit is not super easy to hit with an EMP.
Oh no, not at all, I imagine. MKP has a pretty decent army right now. He's pulled them all back into his base, and Brown seems safe getting this Nexus, but we don't see another command center on the way for MKP just yet, which is actually kind of late for most Terrans nowadays. He seems to be wanting to do some early aggression and then expand behind it, maybe even double expand.
Yeah, but the only thing here that Brown has scouted thus far is this front ramp, and just now the observer's coming in to see more, but
he's seeing everything now.
with this going, he's going to probably assume command center, and there is no command center. And with that happening, he's already taken a nexus behind this, so he is going to have to defend some one base pressure from MarineKingPRIME, and that's going to be a really hard thing to do. He's going to have to micro his immortals and his sentries immaculately if he wants to hold whatever is coming in here off.
I think they're going to meet on the low ground, especially at the Zelnaga Tower. If Brown is caught unawares, his AI is acting right now, and he's pulling back as much as he can. But there's already no shields on this immortal, and on 2 of the sentries. So if guarding shield goes up, but this immortal will die, and he's caught. And that's a big loss for Brown at this stage of the game. A forward pylon is absolutely useless now that MKP is on his front door, and he can force field all day because he's got 5 sentries. But with that medevac, he could just elevator into the main base and do some real damage with these Marines or the tank.
That really early stim was the key to this whole push here. It allowed him to kill that immortal and give him the chance to even do anything with his push. That being said, you can't really match up against the force field play of Korean Protoss. I mean, it's just spot on, and their force fields are as good as you can let them be.
I don't know, his force fields were kind of sloppy. He had to use 4 to block off that ramp, but now another immortal is just about to die. He very closely microed back by Brown, and Brown takes a pretty decent supply lead right now.
He backs that off, and with 2 immortals here, siege tanks are going to be completely nullified. They just step in and focus for the siege tank, and it's dead in 2 shots.
Oh, we had a zealot warp in on the high ground. That's probably why MKP is losing so much supply. With the observer, he was able to warp in with this pylon on the high ground. He's going to continue to pressure up here with 2 more zealots coming in, and just all these Marines are going to be able to take him out really quickly now. But when they weren't there, he lost 5 workers. And Brown's killed a huge amount of resources. Actually, not so much. He's just killed more unit numbers, not as much resources.
He may have killed 5 workers, but this base is 1 base play from MarineKing. This is still oversaturated. And he was gearing up to take an extraction behind
Oh, big kill on that siege tank, and now the Stalkers are definitely going to be able to take out all these Marines.
There's a really strong army here poised in front of MKP's base, and it's going to be a micro battle right on the bottom of this ramp. And this observer here is really making the difference in this fight, allowing Brown to see up into the base and shoot anything he wants to, as opposed to having a unit walk up the ramp to see it. It just makes all the difference in the world.
Yep, and now these Marines are pushing back everything that Brown has, but Brown is pretty safe on 2 bases with an increased economy, and now he was supply blocked, but now he's going to get rid of that. He needs to transform this gateway into an actual warp gate, and we'll see what kind of tech path he goes to, although he's already building a robotic support bay.
He walked up the ramp. He killed the couple supply depots. He killed the reactor on that barracks. As we know, reactor is like one of the biggest setbacks you can kill in a Terran's base, and he walked into siege tank fire and decided he didn't want to fight into that, and he's just going to fall back and macro up and tech up, and he's going to come back and attack with some Colossus in a little bit here.
That sounds good. MarineKing has killed the forward pylon that Brown was using to warp into his main base, and he actually might be able to pick off this observer if he has a good scan. But now we see 3 siege tanks for MKP and command center that he's desperately needing at this point. He might even build another one with all the resources he currently has.
He's turtling up a bit here. At this point, Brown, he can decide if he wants to go straight forward and attack, or if he wants to take a 3rd base here. I think he's going to take the 3rd base because that's a little bit safer, just to get more ahead, and rely on your late game mechanics and macro power. Whereas MarineKing, he needs to catch up. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to double expand here after this. It's going to come down to timings, which Brown here, he dictates the flow of this game. Whatever he decides to do is going to decide this.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Now, Brown has cleared out the destructible rocks on the way to his 3rd base, and I think you're right in that he will build one pretty soon. MarineKing's moving his command center right now, and Brown has put another pylon at the would-be 4th or would-be 5th of MKP, and so that he can I guess just it's a forward pylon. Of course, he's just going to warp in on it. But we finally see some upgrade facilities coming down for both players. We have a Twilight Council and 2 E-Bays coming out of MKP, so the upgrade advantage is going to swing into MKP's favor. But these two Colossi and the extended thermal lands coming in are going to do some real damage against the bio army of MKP.
Yeah, MarineKing, his only saving grace at this point in the game is the fact that he has had constant production from that one command center, to the point where he made a second one and he was ready to make a second base and have it almost completely saturated as soon as it was down there. So that's the only thing keeping him in this game at this point. Otherwise, the second base from Brown was going to just put him so far ahead it didn't matter. So hats off to MKP for keeping that SCV production up the whole time off of one base. It's something you lose a lot when you're getting one base pressure.
These 5 siege tanks are doing real damage to Brown's army, taking out the 1 Colossi and hammering down 2 of those Immortals. Now they're all gone, but Brown is also losing quite a bit of his forces with these SCV pull being targeted by the AI. The reinforcing Stalkers are coming in and killing all of MKP stuff. Now he takes his 60
he
supply
just
lead.
too much here.
Yeah, I think
he does have too much.
Wow,
there it is.
Brown
GG.
taking MKP out.
That's not
in the
even
first
GG.
game.
I'm not sure what that is. I'd spent a while since I studied Hangul.
That looks like she something, but I could be completely wrong, or Xiao. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to jump right into next game, and I was probably completely wrong in that Hangul pronunciation. Chaotic TV, I am KO.
This is Eclipse.
And we're having a lot of fun here tonight, so keep on watching with us. Cheers.